Good morning. So in December 2019, my wife and myself and two of our children went on a mission trip with 6 other people from our church at Gosford to the Amazon. Now, we had raised all the money here in Australia, and it was we'd organised it through ADRA and Mission Brazil or Mission Amazon to go and do some work at a primary school, high school there in the Amazon jungle. But they said to us, no, you don't have enough people. So we opened up the mission trip to people in Brazil, and we added another 20 people to the trip. So in total, there was 32 of us. This is the original crew from Gosford, and you can see that we're all interesting. My wife was the only female of the group that came from Australia. But this was the group in total when we were on the Amazon at the back of the boat. Okay, our trip was so square on your left side through to the square on the right side. That's roughly where the school exists. That took us about 24 hours on the boat to get there, and is rather interesting going down the Amazon. This is a school. In 2015, this school did not exist. There was a gift of land given to the village that's next door to this school, and then for the 3 years after that, teams of 300 people from America came and built this school. And you can see this is one of the builds, and you can see all the boats lined up. Those boats are actually the accommodation and how you get to the school from Manaus. You can see the school there. There's a dormitory over at the back there, and then there was classrooms, library and admin, and then you had over on your right-hand side the accommodation for the teachers. And all that land was cleared. When we went there in 2019, the trees just behind that cleared bit at the back of the school there were grown taller than the building itself. I'd say give it 10 years without being looked after and that school would disappear back into the jungle again. You can see that the front of the boats are right up at the top of the bank. When we went there, we went at the height of the dry season. This is just after the wet season. And you can see there's mud and all that everywhere. All the classrooms are tiled. All the kitchens and everything are all tiled floor. And so if you're walking around in mud, you track it in and it has to be cleaned. So our job there was to put in some footpaths. Now, when we got to Manaus, which is the capital of the Amazon region, we thought this was going to be our accommodation, but we were wrong. This was our accommodation. So 32 of us slept on the top of that boat, on the top floor there, and our kitchen and eating area and ablutions and everything were down on the bottom floor. This is what it looked like, sleeping up the top there. Or we slept in a hammock for 12 nights, and all in together. And we traveled on water. We don't have the experience of the amount of water they have here in Australia. The water they have in the Amazon is just, it's beyond belief. At Manaus, the river is 10 kilometres wide, and the two rivers, the Rio Negro and the Amazon joined together. It takes the two rivers 20 kilometres to blend in, so that they just become the Amazon after that. That was at the dry season, it was 10 kilometres wide. At the height of the wet season, the river rises 13 metres. At the school where we are at, as you're going along, you see barges pushing. There's actually 2 barges there, but I've seen I've seen 3 barges tied up, one after the other, being pushed along the river, as well as just singles like that. But there was actually 2 barges side by side there. The towns, most of the towns are on the river. Up until recently, there was no roads through the Amazon jungle at all. You could only get around the Amazon by following the waterways. And this was the town This is actually 5 hours from the school in the dry season. In the wet season, that time halves. And apparently if we needed an emergency treatment or evacuation, it was 1 hour high-speed boat to get from this town to where we were. So as I said, we lived on this boat for 12 days. We're tied up. This is tied up at the bottom of the school. And the first thing we had to do is empty cement and aggregate and sand out of the boat and take it up the top. That's actually a bit over 8 meters. You had to climb up those stairs. And in total, we moved 25 tonne of material to build the footpaths that we made. We're checking to see that we had the bags. We didn't have enough. We had to go and get some more halfway through the week. I think that's of sand, and then we had the cement stacked elsewhere, and aggregate. There was some aggregate on site which we made use of as well. We had to, from the admin building, we had to put a path across to the dormitories. This was the last building that was built. The school is going to be a boarding school. There was going to be a boarding school in 2020. Unfortunately, we know what happened to the world, and so that was pushed out for, I think, 2023-24 was their first boarding school, but the chapel is in the middle there, out to the back. All the cement had to be mixed by hand, and we did it in a 4x6 box, and it took us, I think you have a bunch of young men, you get them to have a race, see how quick they can mix a box of cement. So I think the quickest was about 10 minutes they could actually make. That was not putting the aggregate and all that in there, but actually mixing it up so that we could use it. It took them about 10 minutes. That was the first path that we built. A little circle in the middle there with to put a flagpole. And then there was another part to go across to the classrooms over on the side there. This is how the kids get to school. This is a school bus arriving. While we were there, school was not operating, which was good, but we ran a holiday VBS for them, as well as doing the path. We also provided some dental medical treatment and some hygiene training on the trip. And you got the kids coming in. This is how they line up at the bank. This is the school buses. While we were over there, it was pretty close to Christmas, so a businessman in Australia donated some money, and we took duffel bags full of presents to give the kids in the school some presents. Now, Lego, they probably would never see that in their life, but we took some Lego across for them anyway, and some dolls and stuff like that, and it was quite interesting to hand it out to the kids and see them looking at the presents with awe. After a hard day's work, there's nothing like going and having a swim in the river. The interesting thing is that, so what's one of the things that when the Amazon is mentioned, what fish is mentioned? Piranhas. Oh, sorry, go back. So piranhas are actually there in the river. So while these guys, I swam in the river one day, but while everybody was swimming in the river at the end of the day, there was a guy off the back of the boat. He was pulling out piranha fishing. So the piranha were there. There was also a caiman, a crocodile there a couple of weeks before, but the locals said, no, they chased it off or dealt with it. I think dealt with it was had a meaning. But it's very nice there. Well, when we were stopped, we had to worry about mosquitoes, but while we were travelling along the river, we didn't have to. So at nights, we had to put nets over our hammocks. And my oldest son, had his elbow against the hammock at night, and then the next morning he had pincushion elbow from all the mosquitoes going and biting him during the night. It wasn't a malaria area or a yellow fever area, so it was just inconvenient. Okay. As I said, the school was started to be built in 2015. 2018 was when it opened. And these are the first students. Now, these students aren't young. They were kids that didn't have an opportunity to have an education. And so when the school came there, they were doing a crash course. They're actually in their teens. Some of them, one of them was 16, the others were 15 and 14 or something or other. And they managed to get through and finish their schooling. Okay, so my wife tells me I've got to say something. How did it affect me? Well, for my family, it was a blessing. My two sons, my oldest son found his wife on the mission trip. Spent the COVID years dating her online and actually went to Brazil and they got married, I think 2024, something like that. And then they're now living in Australia. She's a dentist and she was on the trip doing the dental hygiene. My other son, Ryan, he decided to do ministry. He was doing engineering at the time when we went on the trip, and when he came back, he goes, I want to change to ministry. And he's now finished his theology studies at Avondale University, and he's now a minister up at Kings Cliff, about to come back down onto the coast. For ourselves, give me an opportunity to go again, and I will go. It was an amazing trip. We did a lot of other things in Brazil. So Brazil has about over 210 million people. The number of Adventists are above 1.5 million. So while it appears there's a large number of Adventists compared to what we have in Australia, when you consider the number of people that don't know about Adventism, there's plenty of opportunity. The other thing was that where we were in the jungle, there are tribes that live in there that may only see white man once a year or may never see white civilization. And so there's opportunity in the Amazon region to be able to go and, which is part of the reason why the school exists. It is an Adventist school. The land was donated by that town that we saw with the big boats out the front, and they donated that land in appreciation for some medical work that was done by the Adventists from Rio de Janeiro. They did a whole mission medical treatment in the town, spent 2 weeks there with cardiologists, optometrists, all sorts of medical people. And there was some pretty wonderful stories about how they healed people. And as a result of that, the town said, what can we do for you? And the head elder of the village goes, we need a school. And so they donated the land for the school. And then North America spent 3 years building the school. And then we came from Australia to put in the footpaths.